Here's what separates the top 1% of business owners from everyone else. And I'm Jasmine DiLucci. I'm a practicing tax attorney, CPA, and enrolled agent. I got my first tax license in high school, and now I spend my time working with a lot of business owners. I see what the best business owners do, and I see what the worst business owners do. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the lie that keeps business owners stuck, the legal reality no one tells you, how this breaks down in practice, what the top 1% do differently, and how to get ahead starting now. So to understand why most business owners lose money and prevent their business from growing, we have to start with the lie, okay? The belief that quietly causes the most damage. The biggest misconception in business is this: if I hire a good CPA, I don't need to look at the numbers. I don't need to think about taxes, and I don't need to make hard financial decisions because someone else is handling that for me. Once that belief sets in, business owners act in a way that exits the financial aspect of their business after hiring a professional, okay? They stop reviewing reports. They stop asking questions. They assume silence means things are fine. But your money is the heart of your business and usually the reason you are doing it in the first place. Okay, a great CPA can give you clarity, structure, and tax efficiency. They can help you understand risk, plan ahead, and make smarter decisions, but they cannot replace the perspective and decisions of the business owner. They don't operate inside your business day to day. They don't have visibility into which roles are actually driving value or which operational issues are quietly eroding it. You do. As a business owner, you're in the best position to make decisions that require real context, okay? A great CPA's role is to give you financial insight and structure that allow you to make those decisions well. That's how you leverage a CPA correctly, not by handing over financial responsibility blindly, but by using their expertise to support informed ownership. And let's be honest, no one will ever care about your money like you do. Once you understand the lie, the next thing you need to understand is the legal reality, okay? Because tax law operates this way as well, okay? Even if you disagree with me, you think you're wrong, Jasmine. I delegate everything to my CPA and it's great. I don't look at a thing. Here's how that plays out legally. The legal responsibility and the burden sits with you, not your CPA, not the IRS, you. Legally, courts have determined that certain responsibilities are what they call non-delegable duties. Okay, it means the law does not allow you to outsource all responsibility for your tax compliance. You can hire help, you can rely on advisors, but you cannot delegate accountability for non-substantive tax items like filing deadlines or payment deadlines. Okay, your CPA might suck and completely misguide you, and you know whose fault that is? It might be yours. And we learned this in U.S. v. Boyle, a Supreme Court case where a taxpayer blamed their attorney for late filing an estate tax return. The court made it very clear that reliance on a professional does not excuse a taxpayer from meeting clear statutory obligations. The responsibility stays with the taxpayer. The court said it requires no special training or effort to ascertain a deadline and make sure that it is met, okay? The failure to make a timely filing of a tax return is not excused by the taxpayer's reliance on an agent. And such reliance is not reasonable cause for a late filing. Reliance by a layperson on a lawyer is of course common, but that reliance cannot function as a substitute for compliance with an unambiguous statute. Think about it like this. You have a baby and you hire a nanny and you don't check in with that nanny for a year. And then you say the nanny did a bad job. You might be right. But what do you think a court would say? They would say you can't delegate the well-being of your child to another person, no matter how credentialed. And it's the same thing here. You are the business owner. You are responsible for the core requirements. The top 1% of business owners understand the tax and financial foundation of their business well enough to know they've hired the right professionals, and they actively work with those professionals to keep their business in a strong financial position. When business owners aren't shown the legal reality, or it's just their first time growing a business, this is how it tends to break down in practice, and it's incredibly common. Okay, not because people don't care, but because the business grows, responsibilities pile up, and financial oversight quietly becomes reactive instead of intentional. Here's the pattern I see most often. Okay, business owners hire a professional and just assume that things are being handled. So they wait until the tax return to find out whether the business actually made money, are surprised by how much they owe, extend returns, miss deadlines, or incur penalties, get frustrated, switch CPAs, and hope that the next firm fixes the problem. And then repeat the cycle, not because they're irresponsible, but because tax and financial responsibility often feels like a black box, and no one has shown them how much ownership and control they actually can have with the right guidance. Delegating support is smart. Delegating awareness is risky, okay? Strong business ownership doesn't mean doing everything yourself. It means staying close enough to the financial pulse of your business to make informed decisions with the right professionals supporting you. If that sounds uncomfortably familiar, the good news is that there's a clear alternative, and that's what the top 1% do differently. The best business owners don't do their own taxes and they don't do their own bookkeeping, but they do understand their finances well enough to delegate intelligently. They review financials monthly or quarterly. They track KPIs that actually matter. They understand the risk of the tax positions they take, and they ask questions when something feels off. For example, I had a client who hired a very large, very high-end, very expensive firm. Okay, by every external measure, it was a good firm. Okay, but when the return was prepared, it showed about 1.2 million of taxable income, and that number didn't make sense to the business owner. He said, we didn't make anywhere near that much, right? When he questioned it, the junior accountant got on the phone and walked him through a very complicated spreadsheet showing an accrual to cash conversion. And this is important, okay? When an explanation feels impossible to follow, it's usually not because you're incapable of understanding it. It's because the person explaining it doesn't understand it well enough to explain it simply. The accountant sounded confident, the spreadsheet looked impressive, but the business owner still had a gut feeling that something was wrong. When I reviewed the returns, here's what I found, right? The accountant had started with the cash basis numbers and then performed an accrual to cash conversion to those numbers. Most people are cash basis taxpayers, which means we pay tax on the money when it shows up in our bank account, right? Even if we perform services or earn money the next year. And to state the obvious, if your starting point is already cash basis, then you don't need to convert the numbers into cash. You already have the cash numbers. And because the cash financials were about $300,000 higher than the accrual basis financials, the accountant effectively added the $300,000 again, accidentally overstating income by the $300,000. No fraud, no bad intent, just a fundamental misunderstanding that slipped through because no one slowed down and asked, does this actually make sense? And that's the point. The firm was reputable, the accountant was competent, but the business owner was smart to question the result and persist despite being reassured it was correct, and that awareness prevented a very expensive mistake. So now that you know what goes wrong and why, let's talk about execution, because how to get ahead isn't complicated, but it does require ownership. So if you want to get ahead of 99% of business owners, start here. Okay, act like the CFO until you hire one. Larger businesses don't eliminate financial ownership, they assign it to someone whose job it is to make high-level financial decisions, and until you hire a true CFO, that role belongs to you. Review your financials regularly and use them to make decisions. Okay, at least quarterly, review your financials and the KPIs that actually drive the business. Customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, and gross profit by service line. These numbers should shape decisions now, not explain results later. Keep your books clean in real time. Digitally attach receipts and documentation to transactions as they happen, not shoeboxes of receipts, not recreations later. Clean support that matches your books saves you thousands of hours and thousands of dollars in the event of an IRS audit. Understand the risk behind your tax positions. Okay, you don't need to memorize the tax code, but you should understand where your exposure is and why. Okay, don't take positions you can't explain or don't understand. Even legal tax positions carry IRS exposure if you're not fully aware of the documentation requirements to support them. Delegate with understanding, okay, not blind trust. Hire good professionals and leverage their expertise, but stay informed enough to ask questions and recognize when something doesn't make sense. The difference between the top 1% and the 99% isn't intelligence. It is ownership over their finances. You don't get ahead by blindly outsourcing critical responsibility. You get ahead by understanding it and then delegating it correctly. And honestly, that is the whole game.